joined by Liu Yang. She's chairman and CIO of Atlantis Investment Management, an independent boutique manager. And you're close to managing something like $5 billion US or thereabouts. Okay, it's not about this number, but where are we? Are we at an inflection point?
Exactly. This is a critical point. The Chinese property developers, they have been holding on and very reluctant to cut prices until last week.
Really, as soon as
yes,
that last week?
They did in two major cities. The prices were cut. Prices were cut in residential area, high end, by about 20% already, especially in Shanghai and Nanjing, some big, massive projects. So I can see the deadlock situation between buyers and sellers in the Chinese market start to breaking out.
Is it a question of supply and demand?
Not that. Okay, it's all about the sentiment, all about the psychology level, all about where we go from, excuse me, from now on. Basically, Shanghai moved first in terms of price cutting. Shenzhen and Beijing still very stable, and there's a very low volume, but demand has been there. We don't talk about demand because that's no problem at all.
But does it match supply, and is it about speculators?
I don't think theaters are willing to do anything at this moment. There's no volume where you go. But the point is waiting for, whether there's a more aggressive, tough measurements coming or not. The answer may be yes.
Okay, well, we're not expecting any. What do you think is going to show us a very different picture than across the country?
Very different. The first-tier cities, the highlights are very sensitive in terms of price cut. The second, third tiers, everything going on the normal because they play the catching up, and the speculators, excuse me, not really go to the Beijing, Shanghai anymore.
Okay, and it's become harder and harder for speculators to enter the market in many of these cities due to, a clampdown on them. So where does the money go? I've not seen a substantial appreciation as far as equities.
Yeah.
Would you expect one at any point?
And basically, it's very hard to do anything big this year. In other words, Chinese names went nowhere. This is a situation we haven't seen for many, many years. Basically, it's the decoupling between fundamentals and the market behaviors. We have a joke now at the fund manager circle, and the stock market, it's worse than a game of gambling. Because when you're doing gambling, I never did gambling, but you can follow some signals, some trend. But in Chinese property, sorry, now we don't talk about property anymore. Stock market is going nowhere because nobody talk about fundamentals or price, multiples, dividend yield. They are so strong, but who cares about that? They all care about big event. Where we go with the commodities, inflationary figure, Chinese policy shifts, on the bigger issues dominated the behavior of investors so much, and we are in the middle of another dead crisis, So where we go, nobody knows. So
Okay, that would explain why there's so many people gambling in Macau right now. Well, we had the People's Bank of China out earlier saying, well, they're looking at yuan reform. Now, reading between the lines, is that a signal that we're going to get greater appreciation of the currency?
The answer is yes.
When? And by how much?
Okay.
One-off or more?
I really want to share with you, but we have to follow, what the central government, the message is sending out. But I believe after the recent summit between China and United States, Mr. Wang Qishan, we can read between lines. I think we are going our own way and our own time pace to appreciate currency. We did that. The renminbi hit new highs, but I guess it's not good enough. But the point is, renminbi denominated assets still being chased up. That's why the aggressive tightening is the Chinese government really smart way to control or to fight two things, which is number one, inflation. Number two is the bubbles. They want to squeeze out the bubbles from Chinese assets.
And you can do that with an appreciating
yuan. They're doing that very well. So until they claim, they achieve the targets, and, the stock market going nowhere.
Where'd you put your money very quickly? 15 seconds.
There's no quick way to put money.
Where are you putting the money that you manage then?
Exactly. Basically, holding cash is a safe way. I'm not so, before so cautious, but now I am cautious. And so in the next 3 to 6 months, better doing less, but urbanization seems will be the key.
At least you're not putting it into Macau and on the tables
Never,
there.
never.
Thank you, Liu Yang from Atlantis Investment Management.